that, let me bring in Jim Simon. You know, we've been hearing from a lot of legacy brands. We've been hearing from General Mills, from Mondelez, from White Castle, from Hostess, a whole bunch of legacy brands. Let's talk to a real upstart brand. The JiMMYBAR's brand is only 6 years old. Jim Simon brings to this a background more in tech and data than in food. Jimmy, you there? Oh, he's there. Jim, how are you?
Here I am. How you
Good
doing?
to see you. And I just want you to know, while I ask my first question, I'm going to illustrate it for you because I actually have an open bar here. I'm not going to bite this. Jim, I got to tell you, these things are really dense. When you take a bite out of this, you spend a while on it. I noticed when I tried this the other day. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is the way you distribute it. But let's start by outlining the JiMMYBAR line. What are these things? And then I want to talk about distribution.
And then you gotta taste it too. So in a really, really crowded, popular category, there's bars, where we planted our flag is functional, meaning you eat for a specific purpose, right? So exactly what you just said, they're very dense. It's not a kind bar, you know, it's not a little treat. It's something you're eating for a purpose. I think the one you're eating right now is Wake and Focus, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Plant-based caffeine, MCT oil for brain health, omega-3s, tastes really, really good. We actually have ground up gluten-free cookies that we source from Canada in there. So everything has to not only taste really good, it has to solve a problem, which is, what is it? It's 2:30 and, you know, Denver time where I am. That's when you start getting a little somnolent and sleepy and, you know, you need to get up and walk around. That's when I have Awake and Focus. And so that solves the problem. Plus they taste awesome.
What hole are you filling? What's the white space in the market that you think has room for this?
Well, a lot of people years ago, this is like 3-4 years ago, said, why would I eat a JiMMYBAR? Is it pre-workout? Is it post-workout? Bars have always been associated for workouts. And even though I work out, it's sure as hell not my lifestyle to like spend my life in the gym. And so I started realizing that people need to be told when to eat it. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny, but they do. And so we decided, let's make, you know, we call them bars with benefits, which is a cheeky take on friends with benefits, but let's tell the people when they should eat it. Is it a 3 o'clock bar? Is it a 5 o'clock bar? And so on. And you've seen the evolution of functional drinks, which are massive, which is probably 15 years ahead of functional food. But now you're starting to see functional food in the form of gummies, bars, et cetera. And so that's how the evolution started, was we needed to tell people when and why to eat it, along with telling people, you know, it just tastes really good. So if you're not tired, you can still eat the Wake and Focus bar. It tastes amazing. And also my sister, who's my partner, and she's a chef, she said, you eat with your eyes. The bars must be pretty. You don't really associate bars and attractiveness. You know, if you look at the bars, they don't look great. Our bars look nice. You know, they're drizzled, they're pretty. It's expensive to do it that way. And so that's how the evolution began.
Now, one of the reasons why I wanted you on is that when we talked a couple of weeks back, you come at distribution of this product differently from most. And I know you have very strong feelings about the traditional, especially grocery-based distribution system. And that's what I wanted to start drilling into, not only why you chose this path or what you're experiencing in these alternative distribution channels, but the sort of media implications and brand building implications. But let's start with the basics. What's your distribution strategy, and why not the path most traveled?
So I came into the industry from technology. And so, you know, being a biz dev person or an M&A guy in technology, there are no middlemen. There are no distributors. There are no brokers. There are no master brokers. There are no master distributors, no sub distributors. If you want to do a deal with Google, you pick up the phone and you call Google. So I came in with that mind frame. So when I started calling on grocery and they'd say, oh, well, you got to go through this broker. And then I call the broker and they don't want to take me on because I'm too small. And I go talk to distributors and distributors don't want you unless you have business. It was sort of the chicken and the egg thing. It was sort of frustrating. And then once I would get a yes from a grocery or drug, the slotting fees were so enormous. There's no path to profitability. And again, coming from a very different, place, technology is that, you just go straight to the source. And so what I did was a little bit different. My my go to market from year 1 to 4, 2014 to like 2017 and a half, was I was 100% food service. So I did something that I don't know other companies have done, and that is I went directly to Google, Facebook, Uber, Oracle, Intel, Fireman's Fund Insurance, and went into their corporate pantries. And at the time in 2014, 15, you could go direct. I used to walk into Google and I'd walk out with an order. It was awesome. It's not the case anymore because you have a lot of middlemen and a lot of chargebacks and stuff like that. But that was our go-to-market, because I'm a sales guy, because I came from with fresh eyes, and I just didn't know how the game worked. Also, it's a money issue. If you're not going to go out and get $4 or $5 million from a venture capitalist, it's very hard to compete in grocery. You want to be in grocery, but it is expensive. And so that's another reason why I went that path. About 2018-ish, we pivoted from a date-based bar into high protein, low sugar, and then functional. So we've had sort of 2 evolutions. When we got into functional, we started going crazy. Everybody loved the taste of the bars. We've always thought our bars taste better than most, or taste better than all. They're pretty, for lack of a better word. Our messaging was sort of the antithesis of most of the high protein bars, and that it was unisex, whimsical, light. It was not just for the guy who spends his life in the gym and macho and supreme and all that kind of stuff. It was for everybody, because I was just a travel and deal guy, and I came up with the idea for the bars because I was eating, I think it was a Cliff Bar or whatever I was eating, and I looked in the ingredients. I'm like, good Lord, I don't know what these ingredients are, and so I would go to Whole Foods and I would look at anything, even dried fruit has sugar on it. Everything, everybody's hiding. There's a lot of marketing, as you know. And so I thought, how come no one comes out with an honest brand? Right around that time, Skinny Pop came out. I'm a Chicago guy, and I know the founder of Skinny Pop, and it's just healthy, great tasting popcorn. And I wanted to do the same thing with bars.
So what are the channels that you started moving into? As you started developing into the next evolution of the bar, you found you've been focusing on alternative channels of distribution.
Yeah. So from food service, alternative. And when I say alternative, I mean TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, Burlington, Michael's, a lot of places you wouldn't think of, because it's clean, because you can go in and there's not a broker and there's not a distributor. Again, because I used my own money and then I used friends and family money, it just didn't make sense to me to lose $5 million a year. And so I would go into those alternative channels. They're really nice people to work with. They're looking for innovation. It's not planogrammed. I'm super ADD. So if I go and pitch a buyer and I have to wait 9 months, I'm like, oh, I want a deal. So that's why I went into there. I knew I would eventually be in grocery. You got to be in grocery. I want to be in grocery, right? And then from alternative, we did quite well. We got into Costco. And so we did about 1.5 years in Costco Canada. That was fantastic. And then we started getting into drug and all the other channels, including value. But it was food service as a base. That felt smart at the time. It sure as hell doesn't feel smart now, because food service is dead, right? It's absolutely dead. Food service caters to prospectors, people who like to prospect. I like cold calling. I'm a sales guy, so I'm not a chef. My sister's the chef. I like going out and pounding the pavement and getting deals. Hotels, colleges, high schools, anywhere I could get the bars is where we went. Now we've morphed more into, we are heavily on Amazon. We've got a nice direct-to-consumer business, which I love. It's really profitable. I love having a one-on-one relationship with consumers, and we're in every drug chain in America, and then starting to pitch to the Costco's domestically. We are in Costco Australia, and we're working on Costco EU.
And convenience stores. I picked this one up at my local Wawa.
As I'm yapping incessantly, I forgot my most important channel, C-store. So right. It went food service, alternative, and then C-store. C-store came about, they're looking for innovation, right? So everybody's calling on Sprouts and Whole Foods. There's a lot of Jimmy's out there, right? And they're calling on the same buyer, and the same buyer's picking and choosing because they can. C-store is a more difficult channel because it's not, natural is what? Sprouts, Whole Foods, and some regional players. C-store is, oh my God, there's so many of them. And there's not one giant. There's Speedway, there's Thornton's, there's a lot of them. Again, caters to my strength, which is I like being on the road and I like selling. And I have a fantastic VP of sales who is a C-store guy. So we started calling on C-stores and they were looking for innovation. They wanted cooler brands. They wanted stuff that tastes really good. They didn't want the same old bars that have been around for 30 years. It resonated with them. And we kill it on C-stores. C-stores now, obviously with COVID, not the greatest channel, but it's going to come back. So C-stores is still my favorite channel.
So given these different channels, given the Costco's, the drugstores, the C-stores, how does that impact your media and marketing plan? How do you build a brand when that's where you are? And how is that different from, say, a traditional grocery store approach?
Great question. Well, the funny thing is, in the C-store world, a lot of the C-store buyers refer to their customers Bubba. They're like, I don't know if Bubba's going to like this, because that's the way it used to be 20 years ago, right? Slim Jims and, slushies or whatever. And I had one buyer say, you're driving women into my planogram. It's really interesting because JiMMYBAR's is probably 55, 60% female focused. And he's like, I kind of like that. That's neat. So how does that, when I'm targeting C-store folks, is it different than when I'm targeting people on Amazon? Absolutely. Amazon, we're split 50-50 male, female. JiMMYBARs.com, we're 80-20 female. C-store, we're about 50-50 to 55% female. So when we're targeting different people, our message is a little bit different. It's a lot, but we're also saying the same thing about this is the brand, this is what it does, et cetera. So when I'm doing stuff for a health club or a gym, I'm focusing on a different clientele, a workout person, as opposed to when we're in Hudson News and the airports, we're advertising in a different fashion too. We're on the go traveler.
But let's talk about the media plan behind that.
Yeah.
Where are you buying this media? Where do you do the targeting? What does your media spend look like in terms of how it's broken down, what channels you're using?
3 pieces: Amazon, Google, Facebook, right? So, and we're also starting to look at a site called Outbrain. Do you hear noise in the background?
A little bit, but you're okay. We can get you.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So Facebook, I'm spending probably 30% of my spend. Amazon is about 50, and then the remainder is Google. I'm finding that because you're so far deep in the funnel on Amazon, it's probably the most effective. It's not the cheapest by any stretch. On Facebook, we're getting people to come to JiMMYBARs.com. Google coming to JiMMYBARs.com. We're actually starting to flirt with advertising on Facebook to send them to Amazon. Mm-hmm. We just started doing that. So we've been doing that, and now we're doing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Keep going. Now you're doing one. Also,
we're starting to flirt with video. So we just launched some videos, TikTok, YouTube. We did a little bit on Snapchat. With TikTok in particular, because we've got maybe 300 ambassadors around the world, we've asked them, we have contests for videos. Come up with your best 10-second video. Got to be funny, got to be interesting, got to talk about the brand. We reward them, with 3 bars or whatever. And that's what feeds into TikTok, which ultimately feeds into sales. So we're very bullish on TikTok.
So across some of these channels, are you mainly using Amazon search, Google search? Are you using high-level search terms, or are you trying to get farther down into the funnel and work off your own brand recognition?
We do a couple of things. We conquest our competitors. We also do retargeting. So because I came from a digital background, I know that retargeting is probably the most effective way. So you can conquest your competitors that way. The problem is, my competitors are some of the biggest brands in the world, and they're owned by Mars and Hershey's and so on. So if I'm going to conquest, I'm going to have to open up my piggy bank a little bit. I also have the advantage because my brand is so specific. Plant-based caffeine, functional, keto. We do a ton in keto, collagen bars, et cetera. I can target those keywords to get the right users. But, anybody who's looking for JiMMYBARs, we're getting conquested by like crazy, which is flattering in a weird way. I see some of these younger brands than ours, and we're getting conquested. So people, when you put in JiMMYBARs on Google, it comes up to another brand.
If you're using all these performance channels, how are you calculating ROI? And you're still relying, what I think, what did you tell me? 90% still is at retail? 90% of sales still at retail?
Probably 86% right now is retail.
But so you're using performance channels to drive offline behaviors. How are you calculating the ROI?
ROI is really easy on Amazon, obviously, because you can see the sales. Google, very easy. You can see the sales because everything's cookied. So anything on Google is going to cookie, and then it goes back to our Shopify site. We can see where the sales. Same with Facebook, everything's cookied. So those three channels, easy. Instagram, a little more difficult. So we do sell on Instagram, but I don't think we're cookied on Instagram right now, so we can't track sales. And on our 300 ambassadors around the world, we use promo codes. So if you are ambassador, it would say Steve Smith promo 2021 or 2021. It would know every sale that rings goes back to you.
Let's look at a couple of pieces of creative here, so we could at least look what the messaging looks like, and then I want to talk a little bit about the influencer strategy. Tell us about this piece. Where do we see this? How's it targeted?
It's a little cheeky, no pun intended. Everything we do, we try to do with a little bit of humor. One thing I noticed when I started the company, and I actually see it more now, is that, wow, the natural foods world takes itself pretty seriously. So we wanted to do stuff that's funny. OMG, Jimmy's naked. Obviously, it's naked bars, right? But the name Jimmy lends itself to you think it's something else. Our bars are pretty, for lack of a better word. This really killed it. So we have the bars themselves. They're eye-catching. It's colorful. Our Tiffany blue color is very different from the other brands on the market. But we attract people with the macros. So people see keto, 16 grams fat, 4 net carbs. You see our Eye of the Tiger bar, 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of sugar, very high protein, very low sugar, and that attracts them. And just seeing Jimmy's naked, people click on it. Oh, that's really funny. It's a funny brand. They read our brand story. It's a family business. There aren't many of them left. And that's why actually this was one of our highest performing digital ads.
Where are they seeing this? Is this a retargeted ad or just a targeted ad on Facebook? Where are they getting it?
So we do a couple things. We can retarget on Amazon. So Amazon has a retargeting program. You go to Jimmy Bars, you click around, you don't buy, we're going to hit you up somewhere else, right? So you're just getting cookied. Anybody comes to Jimmy Bars, buys or doesn't buy, you're going to get hit with an ad. And we also do dynamic display, which is we're going to hit you with an ad of the bar that you were looking for, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for a keto bar, you're going to get a keto ad. If you're looking for an immune bar, you're going to get an immune ad. And then we use another retargeting platform that's going to get you on CNN, Fox News, wherever.
And I think we've got a video clip as well. Let's talk about the video messaging.
I need the Eye of the Tiger.
Come on. We gotta keep rising up.
I need the Eye of the Tiger.
Whoa. We gotta keep rising up. Touch the sky. We're gonna fly. We gotta keep rising up. Rising up. Gotta keep rising up.
5 minutes till Eye of the Tiger, Mr. Pierrick.
Eye of the Tiger. I am the Eye of the Tiger. Eye of the Tiger, unleash your inner rock star. Hit Jimmy with it.
Okay.
So that goes along with how we like to have a little bit of fun, right? So we did a licensing deal with Jim Peterick from the band Survivor, who is the co-writer of Eye of the Tiger, the famous, iconic song from the Rocky movies. It's still the #1 workout tune on planet Earth, which is pretty amazing. He's a personal friend, and we filmed that in Chicago. My oldest sister owns a company called Simon Casting, which is a large casting agency in Chicago. So we used all their studio space, and we've had incredible success with this because it's just fun. It's a fun video. It gets you to the point of, Eye of the Tiger is a performance bar. Unleash your inner rock star. fun, whimsical. It's loaded with protein. 25 grams of protein is very, very high. 6 grams of sugar, very low. And it has the plant-based caffeine. So this ad was really effective. We had it all over YouTube. We also used it, a shorter version for pre-roll and post-roll on YouTube.
By the way, how are you measure? By the way, I want to signal everybody out there, if you have questions for Jim about how he was building this brand, how he was using alternative channels, please put them into the chat window or raise your hand. We want to hear from you. Let me round out by talking about social influencers, because I'm curious. And again, we've heard a lot of mixed and interesting opinions about social influencers over the last couple of days. How are you using them effectively, and what's been your experience, especially in the last year?
Yep. So we have JiMMYBAR ambassadors, and they're all over the world, because right now we're in 7 countries. So we've got a lot in Australia because we kill it in Australia, US and Canada, some in Europe. We look for folks, male and female, that are part of quote unquote food tribes, right? Gluten-free, high protein, low sugar, they work out, or they're travelers, whatever. And they have a following of 5,000 plus. So a lot of people started off and they'll, pay LeBron James $1 trillion. Sometimes that's really effective. I don't have that kind of money, so it's out of the question. So what I did was micro influencers, where I started off in our backyard in Chicago, and then it expanded. As we expanded, it expanded. And so now we have influencers everywhere. Every one of them has a promo code, so we can track sales. We do not pay our influencers. We give them free product every month. We send them product, and then they give them out to their friends. They chat about it. We track everything. So if they're not posting, or if they're not kind of playing along with what we want them to do, which is just enjoy the bars, give them to your friends, and post, then they're out. We have a kind of a waiting list of ambassadors. So there's no shortage of people who want to work with us, because, you get free stuff. I mean, if I love this shirt brand and they would send me a free shirt every month, I can guarantee I'm going to chat about the shirts. So the free shirts come. So it's been really good, and we can track sales. What we found was really interesting, and that is, as we grew offline, the ambassadors starting to promote the stores we're in offline. For example, Costco Australia. We have a handful of ambassadors in Australia, and they talk about go to Costco Australia, also buy at JiMMYBARs.com, but Costco Australia, buy your JiMMYBARs, and so on. And it's grown. So online media is helping offline sales. Offline sales is helping online media. And it's something I actually studied 20 years ago when I was in digital media. And that is, how do they help each other, right? So when Walmart is trying to drive people to Walmart.com, every time you walk through Walmart, it's helping Walmart.com, because you're going to forget something and you're going to go to Walmart.com and buy, right? And so we're finding that as we grow our footprint offline, it's helping online.
And finally, before we go to questions, you've been working in the private labeling space and have opened up another revenue stream there. Why don't you tell us about that and what role that plays in the larger strategy?
Yeah, so we're lucky. We have a partner co-packer that's owned by my sister, and we are obviously very close with them, and they make all our bars, and they make bars for other people too. Company's called Nettie's Kitchen. We had a lot of problems with co-packers prior to my sister starting her own. I know a lot of people have problems with co-packers. They kind of have your business by the throat a little bit sometimes. So we wanted to have a partner co-packer and keep it in the family, quote unquote. COVID hits. It's not good for bars. It's not good for natural foods. We're very, very worried, right? C-stores, which is our biggest channel, dead. So we got to do something. And so we were starting to talk to some very large retailers about innovating the bar section. So right now, if you go to 99% of the groceries, the club, value, C-store, whatever, private label bars are kind of boring. They're going to be clones of Kind Bar, clones of RX Bar, clones of Cliff Bars, clones of all the biggest brands, right? They're not innovating. And we found a couple very large chains that wanted to innovate. They were looking to innovate. They wanted to use our IP, meaning our formula, because JiMMYBAR is a very innovative brand. And so we said, yeah, let's do it. And so Now it's a big part of our mix. We like it. We've got like 3-4 people we private label for now. They're terrific folks to work with, and it's a meaningful revenue stream. And the good thing is also is that we can forecast our costs. So a lot of times when you're in certain channels, and I don't want to pick on anybody, but you're in certain channels, you can't forecast your costs because you're going to get chargebacks. Yeah, the distributors are going to give you chargebacks. They're going to say 20% of the stock we just received from you is damaged when we all know it's not. You know, all the stuff that kind of comes with CPG, that's a book I could write, you know, and everybody watching right now, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So what I like about it is no brokers. I mean, I love my brokers, but no brokers, no distributors. You're selling directly to the source, and there's no fees. It's been a terrific win.
Let's bring in our audience. We've got some questions.
Okay.
Lisa, you there?
Yes, I am. I actually have a question. What does the 25 gram one taste like? Because that's like an amazing amount of protein, which I think is great. What's the flavor?
There's only one way to find out. I'll send you samples if you email me. It's
I'm always looking for that.
No, it's Jim at JiMMYBARs.com. I'll send you samples, but it was kind of funny. So Jim Peterick, the leader of the band Survivor, he was in 38 Special. He and his wife Karen were JiMMYBAR fans, and so we met. He came to my sister's plant, and he said, "I want an Eye of the Tiger bar because he has the rights to the name Eye of the Tiger." Sylvester Stallone let him keep the rights, which was very cool. And so he and I are talking about Eye of the Tiger for a lot of different things right now. It's iconic. And so he loves caramel. He loves chocolate. Karen, his wife, is awesome. She was very involved. She wanted it crunchy, but he wanted it crazy high in protein, and he wanted it caffeinated. Like, he's a 70-year-old guy. He's ripped. He's in phenomenal shape. And so I said, okay. So it took like 6-7 iterations, but it's really good. It's really good.
Chocolate caramel.
And you eat one, you're going to be full too. You'll be very full.
That sounds awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I need to try it, but all right. We do have a question. So do you have anything planned in terms of JiMMYBAR in the kids nutrition space?
We do. We are working on something top secret. I would have to kill you if I told you, but it is in the kids section, and it is a category that has not been innovated in 50 years. And I'm like so excited. I can't even, tell you. It has nothing to do with bars, but it is a kid-friendly product in a boring category that's going to rock. It's going to be amazing. So yes, we have found that I just watch how my 11-year-old eats, and it's like sugar covered nerds and chocolate and just complete garbage. And so when I originally thought about doing a JiMMYBAR for kids, I was just looking at my own kid. I'm like, he won't eat it. He's not going to eat it. He's going to eat like, garbage. So we like the kid space, but we like it outside of bars.
But well, in distinguishing those bars from the kid space, I mean, in terms of marketing, is it a whole new ball game, or can you piggyback from what you're doing now?
Oh yeah. In the kid space, we are actively working on line extensions. So the JiMMYBAR brand is big enough now. We have a nice following, and everybody knows JiMMYBAR, just like Amy's. I always use Amy's as an example. Amy's frozen dinners, and they're in a bunch of different things. And I always buy Amy's because I know it's healthy and it's going to taste good, right? And so JiMMYBAR is known for innovation, functionality, and really good taste. And so we're going into different categories, kids being one of them. We're doing 2 more in the keto space, but we love the kid space, but just not for bars. I was actually just at Walmart yesterday, and there's, everybody use, Cliff Kids and this kids and this kids and this kids. And I'm like, if I'm going to do a bar, it's going to be different for kids. And preferably, I'm just going to do it in a different category.
Well, it sounds great, but you better keep the humor. Everyone is very happy with your humor. They thought it was good, your video, and also the ad as well.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind.
Jim, this was a treat. Thank you so much. I can't. I'm looking forward to chowing down after we go off air. Thanks so much. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.